Would you rather kiss me or kiss the prettiest girl in the world for $1 million?
$1 million to kiss the prettiest girl in the world?
Yes.
Well, obviously I'd pick the prettiest girl in the world and get $1 million. We'd be rich.
Yes, we would. But did you think to say, I'm the prettiest girl in the world?
But you're not.
Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. 1 billion crazy cat ladies. I don't know what the actual number is on this. If you look at Aaron Clary's The Book of Numbers, where he breaks down how to find a woman that's not covered in tattoos and she's not a lefty and she's not crazy and she doesn't already have kids and she doesn't have a high body count and he breaks it down as like 0.08% of men are actually going to find good women. Obviously, that's a pretty dramatic, taking everything out of it. But he does make a point that at a certain point, you do have to say how many women out there are really marriage material. And the reason why I just came up with this funny thumbnail is because what women are trying to do today is women used to compete with each other, right? Like you go see a woman and she bought $800 high heels. And then she says, well, I do it because I want to look good for my man. And the guy says, you could wear $8 high heels. I don't know the difference in them. But what she's doing, she's competing with other women. That's why she needs the $1,500 purse. And she needs the super expensive makeup. And she needs all the things. Because she's competing with other women, showing she has more money. She's more popular. She's more liked, whatever. And they do this because this satiates their need for attention, which all women have, just like children do. Well, it's going to go, here we're starting on the right for you guys. I think that's on the right, of the young gal that's, I don't know how old she is. I forget, 26 or something or other. And she's sleeping with 300 people per year, making lots of money on OnlyFools. And then you've got the left, which is kind of going to be the end of her road, which is good old Jana Hocking. So I got a couple stories we're going to read through today on this stuff. Jana Hocking's latest article that just came out a couple days ago, Jana Hocking, I found where all the single men are hiding.
I loved a woman who wasn't clean.
This one's from the New York Post. Jana Hocking, I found where all the single men are hiding, published March 7th, just a couple days ago. She goes on to say, last week, now Jana is 40 or starting to get into her 40s. She has the crow's feet going on here. She's got a lot of foundation on, let me tell you. She's got the crow's feet starting here. You can even start to see that kind of wrinkly skin between her cleavage where the skin's aging. Pretty soon, next comes the turkey neck. And then the wrinkly liver-spotted hands. I know, I have a grandma. I know what comes next. She says, last week I stumbled upon a room filled with single men. Some would suggest it was like a grown woman's Disneyland. She said, I would suggest it. Well, of course you would. And I really want to help some sisters out and tell you where it is, but I'm a touch worried you'll flock to it like rabbits, and before long they'll all be gone. But in the spirit of our Holy Mother, Taylor Swift, and inspired by her lyrics, Karma is my boyfriend, I'm hoping if I tell you, some good karma, a.k.a. boyfriends, will come my way. So prepare to actually close those online shopping carts filled with date night outfits because we're going out. Well, first, you notice it's not that she says, there's a building full of men. Ladies, come join me here, and we'll all find boyfriends, a boyfriend, or maybe we'll find potential suitors. Maybe we'll find the man of our dreams and settle down. Nope, she wants boyfriends, and she doesn't want anybody else to know because she wants to sleep through the room. Start at one end and work your way to the other, Jana, just like usual. She says it all started last Thursday when I organized a catch-up with a friend who lived on the other side of the city, so we decided to meet wham bam in the center of the city where we both work. We chose a bar that was surrounded by legal firms, corporate finance offices, and the radio station I grace each week. Straight after work around 5 p.m., I strolled into this bar and expected to nab a table for us easily, but the bar was packed with men, glorious men, in business suits and a hint of aftershave mixed with sweat after a long day making money. Heaven. This was no fancy wine bar or the hottest new restaurant that we women tend to choose on a night out. So she goes to the business district. She finds a bunch of guys in suits and aftershave, a little sweaty, working hard, making money. You know, there's so many things in language that tell you what people think. If she said, oh, it's filled with successful men and interesting and likely intelligent and men that are go-getters and energetic, and no, that's not what she cares about. She says it's a lot of men, no women, and they all make money. Lots of glorious money. Just, they give themselves away if you listen closely enough. She said it was a simple establishment designed for happy hour. Over the next couple hours, we flirted our way through conversations with men who were stoked to see us there. We were shouted rounds of drinks and shots, and for the first time in years, we jumped on the dance floor on a school night. Was it worth the slight hangover the next day? Oh, yes. Then, the following weekend, I once again found myself in a flock of men. Side note, what do we call a flock of men? A herd, perhaps. Anyway, it was Sunday, and I woke up fresh as a daisy. The sun was out. I decided it was a glorious day to sit in the sun with a bottle of wine and the girls for company. So I sent out a group message, toot sweet, and we all gathered at the local pub walking distance from my apartment. Now, we'd not gotten the memo that the football season had just started, and this giant herd of men had gathered at said pub to scream violently at the TV while they enjoyed a beer. Marvelous spectacle to watch. As my girlfriends and I all tried to find each other in the maddening crowd, here's a glimpse of our text. Now, before I get to this, notice something. A bunch of men that work together, not a lot of women. She said, it was mostly guys. I think she said it was all men, basically. You have a bunch of guys working, doing financing and other things. These guys are friends. They work in the same building. They likely eat food together, go out and get lunches together. Maybe they have gym memberships, work out at the same gym where they're friendships. You have a men's area. Now, don't get me wrong. Men like looking at women, usually younger than Jana, but men do like looking at women. Men like flirting and talking to women. And ironically, knowing Jana, she's probably already started to sleep with half the bar. But it's another men's space where the men aren't saying, ladies, please come join us. It's a sausage factory in here. Please come. They're happy just being left alone. And here come the women. They find a place where guys are doing their thing, and they're like, we need to be a part of this too. And same thing with the football. She didn't know the soccer season, which football for us non-Americans, she didn't know that started. But what does she do? She finds a room where guys are just enjoying sports, probably telling dirty jokes, laughing it up, having a good time. And she's like, here I am. Now I'm here. Pay attention to me. She says, and in man heaven I was. There were maybe 3, 4, possibly 5 other women in there, and honestly, I'm guessing 200 men. That's what I'm talking about. Why must they invade a place where guys are just enjoying themselves? Now, again, some of these guys are probably nice to them. Some of the guys are flirting with them, and I'm pretty sure the good-looking guys are probably going to sleep with them. That's great, but what about the 195 other men that are like, can we just have some sports without you being in here? Because this is how she dressed up, guys. This is how she dressed up. You can tell she's not a sports fan. She looks like she's going out to a club. And all the makeup, and this is, when I used to go watch a football team, Buffalo Bills, unfortunately, struggling every year I've ever liked them. I used to go down to this bar, and it was named like Buffalo Wild Wings, or not Buffalo Wild Wings. I think it was just called Buffalo Wings. And all they did is show Buffalo on the TV. And over time, and this is in North Carolina, near Raleigh, North Carolina, over time, all the Buffalo fans found out, because they had a friend or friend of a friend that was like, oh, hey, we watched the Buffalo game. This bar, all it had in there was men and women, husbands and wives, and their kids. So it was a family outing. And we all showed up to watch Buffalo and drink beers and have pizza and have a great time. We were all sports fans. Not one woman would ever look like this ever. They wore jerseys, they wore flannel, they wore plain T-shirts. They were kind of salt of the earth girls, not Jana. So while guys are watching football, here comes Jana and all her women to stick their nose in. Now, I guarantee if this is the men right here, she's going to start with this one and probably not the rest. We know Jana. I mean, you know how Jana is. They were in a good mood because footy season was back, and we were in a good mood because they were giving us the how you doing eyes. In the past week, I spoke to more men in the wild than I have on any darn dating app. Because men that are winners and men that are successful and are not chasing women they're chasing their jobs and their passions and their careers and their time with friends. That's what they're doing. They're not on the dating app. So now she's finding out what the real world's really like. She said, for all our whining about never meeting anyone in real life, it turns out we were just hanging out in the wrong spots. I've previously done my good deed by informing men that if they want to meet women, they should start going to brunch, but perhaps we women should follow the same idea and start going to places where the men folk gather. For me this week, it was after work drinks near places men tend to work in, the pubs for the footy. I think we should also probably venture to some country races and actual sporting events. She says, now we're talking. It's not rocket science when you think about it. Just remember all the times we've gotten ourselves dialed up to go to places where there's barely a single man in sight. Oh, the outfits we've wasted. It's because she's going to nightclubs, and if you watch the video I did a couple weeks ago, there was somebody standing there filming the line of women outside of a nightclub, and there were like 300 women and two men. It's because women in those clubs tell all the men to shove off unless they're top 1%ers. So guys said, I'm not going to go to that anymore. But she finds a place where there's a bunch of guys enjoying football, and out of the 200 where the guys are hanging out having a good time, she picks out the top 5% and says, okay, those guys are hot. I'm going to come here and hit on them. Another thing that women are getting in on that men were trying to avoid or enjoy without women. I have this sorted by the very best comments, and I'm just going to read the top one or two. This James Hunt says, it's not difficult for women to date or have a man. Bit of cleavage and we're in. Although AI is 4 years away from totally replacing someone to nag you to fix this or that, silence will be golden. Another guy says, all those great men. No, is that the same guy? No, it isn't. Somebody else says, all those great men and you're still single. Maybe it's you. Down below that, they say, a guy says, she wants the cream of the crop, and I believe she's in her 40s. The guy she wants can easily get a 25-year-old with far less baggage. Jersey Grove, if you're here, thanks for representing us, because that's something that we talk about here. Libby, down below, says, well, she's in her 40s. The expiration date was 10 years ago. This is what's happening on Jana. There's not a post on here that's in support of Jana. It's in support of you're aging out. You're running out of time. Grandma skin is starting to show up on the neck, and your skin's thinning, lady. You're running out of time. Yes, you can show up. You can show up like this is probably a picture from 5 years ago, because this is not a sports bar or anything else. This is probably a photo from 5 years ago, and she's going to start using older photos because if her new photos look like this, then she's going to be too embarrassed. This is what happened, and she's going to be a crazy cat lady. And then in 10 years after that, she's going to say, why do all the men, or 5 years or 3 years, she's going to say, why do all the men my age keep dating 23-year-olds and I'm mad? Where I guarantee you when she was 23 years old and there was a 45-year-old, I don't know, semi-retired footballer, or soccer player, I guess you should call it, who's good looking and still has muscles, guarantee you her heels were pointing towards heaven for him. She had no problems when she was a younger woman. So she becomes a crazy cat lady. And then the woman that I did a video on a couple months ago that slept with 300 dudes in a year, she said the woman who, and this is from, I don't know, a month ago or whatever. No. Yeah, a month ago. Woman who slept with 300 men in a year is up the ante. She said she wants to hold herself accountable to date more people, and she's aiming to go on a whopping 365 dates throughout 2024. Now, is she going on 365 dates? No. If she slept with 300 men in 2023 and she wants to up it, she wants to sleep with one man a year, 365. Now, this is from The Mirror, a trash rag, and this is written by Danielle, a woman, a lifestyle writer. And what's the first thing she says? Being sexually liberated is not something to be ashamed of. See, women like to do this. They like to change the words that are associated with them, and then they say, yeah, being sexually liberated is not something to be ashamed of. Well, okay, yes, but sleeping with a man, a different man, or a different man. It wasn't the same man. It was a different man every day for a year. That is something to be ashamed of. That you're gross. You're dirty. And men will sleep with you. Dear God, I hope that they're wearing protection. They'll sleep with you, but they do not desire you. You're not take home to mom. And this is what's so crazy about this is if you're in a guy and maybe you're traveling and you happen to bump into a woman like this at a bar, and she says, hey, you have a nice little conversation. She says, why don't you come back to my place? And you're like, no, I don't hire professionals. She says, no, I'm not a professional. I just think you're attractive. Let's sleep together. And you go, okay. And she says, man, don't worry. I have protection. We're good to go. And you don't think about it, and you raw dog that. You're thinking, oh wow, I just scored with a hot girl that's on the pill. And in the meantime, you go home and get in the shower, and your freaking junk sizzles like it's a Alka-Seltzer tablet in seltzer water. Like it's just fizzing and it's all a mess. She says the Australia's most active woman is proving that during 2023, being with over 300 men, she decided she wants to up the ante, going for a 365. Annie Knight, not afraid to spell the details of her bedroom life, and she spilled that she may even beat the record by a mile, as the bombshell has already slept with a large number of people. She makes $1.8 million on her OnlyFools, at least according to her. She says she earns 2 million Australian, which is about 1 million pounds, I guess. This is not good. And here, this is something women will never understand. Women will never understand this. Is that there are so many men that if, what's a good way I can put this without sounding too crass? If she came up to you and you said, yeah, I'd love to hook up with you, but I don't know your past. I don't know who you've been with. I want to see a test. I want you to go to the doctor and make sure you're clean. And she says, okay. And she's sweet and she's nice and she looks like this, which, arguably or not, depending on your taste, you could say is pretty. And she comes back and she hands you a test, and it is negative because she just got done with her recent dose of medication and cleared all the itchy McScratchies up. And she's nice, and you hang out with her, and everything's awesome. And you say, wow, this is great, man. This is awesome. In the meantime, not knowing that she's been with 500, 600, 800 men previously. And someday she's going to want to be a wife, probably. At least she's going to want a long-term boyfriend, unless, and this is where we get onto the crazy cat lady, unless she keeps going crazy, like good old Jana Hocking does, until she's 45. And guys are like, no, I don't think, wait, where's my I don't think so?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, sir.
So eventually, guys are going to be like, no, I don't think so. Is there going to be any man that wants to have a 43-year-old, even if she's still relatively attractive, when she can't have kids, wants to get married, wants to settle down, wants the man to be the provider, and he's basically marrying a worn-out flip-flop, like an old shoe with lots of holes and the leather's worn out? And I saw this article, and this was updated March 9th, which was just 2 days ago. This is from IGV. I don't know what that is, but a woman who slept with 300 people in 1 year shares a strict rule men must abide by. I was like, oh, well, maybe she makes them wear something so that they're protected. Maybe she makes sure she vets them a little bit. No, you know what the one strict rule is? I'm not going to read the whole article because it's trash. She said they have to want to film content with me. If they don't, I can't have a relationship with them, she said. It's my job. So she's making all this money filming herself, and a guy's like, I'd love to bang you, but I don't want to be on camera. She said, put a scarf over your head. She said right here, even if they wear a head scarf or whatever and don't show their face, I don't care. If they don't want to show their face, that's not a problem. She just needs them to show, the old in and out action for her to make her money. And she even said one of the regulars, since she's been doing articles, one of the regulars has ghosted me since seeing all these news articles about me. She said, I guess he didn't know that I had a rotation and he was one of my regulars. So whoopsies. I guess he's seen the articles and freaked out. Like I don't want to be with this girl. She said, he was a pretty good guy. I thought better of him. But if he's going to judge me, then he can go F himself. quite literally, because he's not going to be effing me. So she hides the fact of what she does for a living. She says maybe she says, I film it and put it up. I won't show your face. And he's like, okay, like if I get to bang you and you want to put it up and make money on it, I don't care. Without telling the guy she was doing it with 300 other men in the same year. So he obviously didn't know something was going on. So it's not like she's forward with it. And then when he freaks out and he's like, I didn't know you were sleeping with this many dudes and doing all this stuff. Like, I'm not cool with this. She says, you were a pretty good guy, but I thought better of you. You're going to judge me than F off. Oh, you sound like a catch. You sound like a lovely catch for a man someday. So this is going to be another cat lady in the waiting. She's going to screw around and she's going to find out, because if you make $2 million a year, you know she's living the high life. Does she do this for a year or two and then retire comfortably, just being very cautious with her money and enjoying the easy life that she's earned by having several $1 million in the bank and you've purchased a home? And no, she's already trying to outdo her. She made $1.8 million US. Maybe it's 1.5 US. £1 million, 2 million Australian dollars in a year doing this. Is there any point she could say, I don't know about you, if I had $1 million, I'm pretty good to go. I'm investing that well. I'm living very close. And then I'll have a normal job and I'll do something that's fun, or I'll have a bunch of friends, or I'll do some hobbies. You know, when I backpack around the world, I think that cost me somewhere between $10,000 and $12,000 to live out of a backpack in a tent, hitchhiking and taking short commuter flights between countries, 30 some odd countries. That was like 10 grand in a year. I'd probably do that the rest of my life. 10 grand a year, I'm not going to live that long. You know, I'd be, and with the interest, I could probably just live off the interest that, you know, a dividend or something that money makes. But instead of learning from that and having the easy life, she's going to outdo herself the next year and the next and the next, because it's million after million after million after million. She won't be able to walk away. And then she's going to come to the table someday and she's going to say, yeah, this is my money. My money's my money. Your money is our money. And that's going to, or is she going to date a guy that, or marry a guy that makes 100 grand a year, when for the previous 5 or 8 or 10 years as an OnlyFools content creator, she's made $2 million a year? Of course not. There's no man that's going to be good enough. And when she finds a man that's good enough, he's going to look at her and he's going to say, you've done what with your life? Ew, no, thank you. No, thank you. I had a couple more I was going to get into, but I don't think I need to. You guys kind of get the point here. Crazy cat lady. I don't say that to be insulting. I say that the reality of things is that if you watch the last video I did about that country girl, somebody said she's married, actually. Here you got a young country girl next door, farmer girl. She's out there working the land with her father, maybe her husband, building a home. She's a country girl. You've got that girl. And then you've got women like this. And when men know those women exist, and then women like this come forward, and women like Jana come forward, and they say, I've given all my best years and all the good sexy times and all the fun to all the men, but I like you. I want to keep you around. And a guy is going to say, what brings you to the table? She can't say, I have $10 million, because that's not how it works. That 10 million's her 10 million. And he's got to be successful, because she's not going to date a broke guy. She's not going to date an ugly guy. So when the OnlyFools finally settles down and she's 38 and can't have kids anymore, and has more pipe laid through her than what lies below New York City with all its septic sewer lines, when she's had more pipe laid in her than that, guy's going to say, no value, no value. So the only way she gets attention for the rest of her life from men is guys that want to lay pipe. That's it. She's determined, I am a commodity. I am to be used as gratification for men, and I bring nothing else to the table. And the thing she brings to the table now, which might be a rockin' body and maybe a great face for, again, some guys, that's going to go away eventually. And her value to men and to really society drops to zero. Crazy cat ladies, man. It's the more you see it, the more you know it's coming. Guys, if you like my work, once again, join me on betterbachelor.locals.com. a great group of guys, great group, huge community, thousands and thousands of like-minded men. Come on over and join us today, and we will see you in the next one.